Thank you.
Good. Okay, what does a day like this mean for ICASA?
The point of World Telecoms Day is to really highlight the potential that ICTs, being telecoms, broadcasting and broadband, and that brings in terms of socioeconomic development. So in that respect, what World Telecoms Day is about is really to promote the usage, the benefits, and the ITU, which is really the umbrella body, is about essentially sets the theme for the year. And this year's theme is promoting ICTs in terms of road safety. You know, don't text while you're driving, don't use the internet, don't browse, don't do those sorts of things, use hands-free kits
devices
and things like that.
Yeah.
Yes. So really it's about promoting safety. In that regard, ICASA has 9 provincial events, the first starting today in the Northern Cape, which is really about promoting the road safety aspect, but in addition to that, looking at consumer rights. And the way that we enforce consumer rights is really about, if you understand what your rights and obligations are, then you're better able to actually use the rights emanating from regulations. Yeah. So that's wherein, well, that would be our focus for World Telecoms Day.
It's quite amazing that your theme is focusing on driving safely. I mean, that must just tell you what a huge problem it is here. I don't think just in South Africa. I think this is a global problem. Everybody playing with their cell phones and reading the internet, tweeting, Facebooking, messaging.
Absolutely.
It is huge.
It's actually a global theme.
Yeah.
The ITU the ITU is essentially the worldwide global body, and it sets the theme annually, and most countries follow that theme.
All right. Now, one of your other duties is to impose license conditions. What is the penalty for service providers that don't have these proper licenses?
There are a variety of penalties, and it goes through different things. It depends on the level of non-compliance. There has to be a level of investigation. Then there would obviously be discussions with the relevant operator to understand the reason for non-compliance. And then depending on what the issue is, then there would be different mechanisms. So it really ranges on the type of non-compliance that it is.
Yeah. I know that ICASA is also concerned about illegal cell phones brought abroad that have not been registered. You know, this is something that people do all of the time. I mean, everybody you go overseas, you get the latest phone before it's brought into the country. It's a cool thing to do. But what are the problems doing something like this?
The problem is, as much as I can buy this handset, and I can buy it in say, for example, the States, which is a more problematic area, it won't necessarily work here. Okay. Actually, it's more unlikely not to work if it comes from somewhere like the States. Essentially, you have different regions. Europe and South Africa fall within the same region, so we have similar frequency allocations. So when it comes to usage, there's a greater instance of compatibility if you bring it in from Europe. However, in terms of our rules and regulations, you can't bring in a phone from anywhere and use it, because what it does is it really causes degradation on the network.
Really?
It impacts your quality of service, and in some instances, it even poses a potential risk to you. There have been instances in other countries where the phone has actually exploded.
You're kidding me.
Not at all.
Wow, that's a first. I've never heard that before.
That, and ICASA has the authority, if it's causing interference, because we have interference monitoring equipment. What would happen is, if we find that it's causing interference, we have the authority to actually confiscate it without compensation. So we advise consumers to not actually bring in handsets from other countries, and if you do, you'd need to contact us about type approval, because just because a Samsung S3 is approved in, say, for example, London, it doesn't necessarily mean that you can use that exact same handset here. Or the same is applicable if you buy it in Washington, as an example.
Wow.
You've actually, each country has their, they have to go through a type approval process to make sure that the phone is specifically tweaked for
this network.
Yes,
so that's why it sometimes takes a bit longer to get a device into our country as opposed to others. I'm being shouted at. I have to wrap this interview. Does it apply to iPads and everything? Or is it just more than phones?
Everything that has a SIM card in it.
Okay. Thank you for joining us. Katherina Pillay from ICASA, thank you for talking to us here on Morning Live. Let's take a break.